Kia ora katoa. So we are a group of 4 Massey University students. Our group's name is Ngā Kaitiaki Taiao Kaipara, the Environmental Guardians of the Kaipara Harbour. This is our pitch to you, Rodney District Council, in regards to the proposed landfill in the Dome Valley. For our project, we have put together a landfill liner that we think is going to solve the environmental issue with leachate getting into the harbour. So I'm going to pass over to Robin, our designer, and Katie, our scientist, who are going to talk over the design for you.
Hi, I'm Robin.
I'm Katie.
So we will talk through the results of the 3 different models that we did. So the first model that we did had one liner with a seam in it. So the model has multiple different layers. Underneath the liner is a clay layer, which represents the ground and the groundwater underneath the liner. And then inside the liner there are different grades of drainage metal. So from big to small layers of drainage metal, geo cloth on top, and then some soil on top of that, with a pipe which comes through the drainage metal layers out into this, which represents a leachate pond, which then gets treated. So our first model had only one liner with a seam.
Yes, so when we tested the model, we tested all 3 models in the same way. You can look above at the method of our scientific testing, which will explain it further. We used water amounts that were related to the amount of rainfall that the area gets. So the Dome Valley can get up to 210 days of rainfall, more than 1 millimetre over the course of a year. And of that, it can get high intensity rainfall events where 173 millimetres of rainfall can occur within 12 hours. So we took this into consideration and we measured a number of different rainfall amounts. With this first model, using our scale, again, you can look above and that'll explain it for you. We got a reading of 10, which meant that almost 100% of the clay beneath the liner showed the blue food colouring that we used to test how much leachate was coming through into the ground rock.
So then we moved on to the second model, which had still a single liner, however it didn't have any seams in it. The layers were still the same in the second model, but still with only one liner.
Yeah, so this one we saw a drastic increase in its capability to hold the leachate and make sure it was going through the right paths. This model got a score of 4, which meant that 40% of the clay beneath the liner showed the blue food colouring. So we were getting better and the test results were showing that it was starting to work, but it still wasn't quite where we wanted it.
So then for the third model we decided to use a double liner, and so the first layer of lining still had no seams as well as the second liner, and that drastically improved our results.
Yeah, so this model got a score of 1, which meant only 10% of the clay beneath the liner held the blue food colouring. After looking at this and deconstructing the model, we found that most of the leaking was around the pipe, so we think the liner in itself definitely works. There's still a bit of room for improvement, but we're definitely on the right track to solving the issues that come with a landfill in the Dome Valley. So now we are going to pass over to Tracy.
Hi. The proposed landfill has generated some real concerns from the local community and Māori. The local community and Māori, who are kaitiaki of the land, are very concerned about the impact that the landfill might have on the water in particular, and that relates directly to leachate that could potentially leach out from the landfill into the water. Now, the landfill sits directly on top of some aquifers that supply the local community with their drinking water. Those aquifers also feed directly into the Hotio River, which also feeds into the Kaipara Harbour. The leachate can also potentially leach into the Hotio River, which runs nearby the proposed landfill. The Kaipara Harbour actually supplies New Zealand with 90%, or the New Zealand fishing industry, I should say, with 90% of its snapper and trevally supplies. And along the Kaipara Harbour and the Hotio River, we also have a number of fish farms. The locals also fish the Kaipara Harbour and the Hotio River for their kai. We also need to consider all marine life if the leachate gets into any of the waterways within the area. So we believe that our liner will solve all of the issues that Māori and the community have. So we are going to pass this on to you, Rodney District Council.